Dun, dun, dun.
We're looking forward to it because it's free flowing. We don't. It's not. I mean, we have a guideline, but it really similar to this. We want the feedback from the room, and we gauge the conversation on how the room's going. So
Yeah, and at least having a couple hours to play with.
yeah,
That's one thing with like the presentations, and I mean, again, I'm all for like the shows and that, and having the presentations, but there's only so much you can really cover in 45 minutes, kind of a thing. It really is. So at least you have some room to kind of go in some depth on some
right.
specifics, frankly.
Well, we're going to use Slido again. Have you ever used Slido? Have you ever seen Slido used at the trade shows where it's interactive, where they can use it from their phone? You ask the questions, and
yeah, yeah.
So we did that last time, and we did really well with it. So we got several questions we're actually already talking about for this one to try to get the crowd interactive with it. So we're looking forward to that. So, but it's been a crazy week, dude. I've been consulting. I had 4 calls this week. Okay, I love the hat.
Are you cold in Florida? Or are you?
No.
This is a remote facility, and it's like 15 degrees in here because I don't keep the heat on when I'm not here. So,
Ugh.
So how cold is it right now where you're at?
minus 15, probably.
Minus 15?
Dude, I was in the Pocono Mountains on Thursday last week working on the gate with my gate guy. When I got there, it was 1 degree.
Hang on, but I'm speaking Celsius.
Okay. Yeah, do the math.
It's 5.
Okay, that's still hella cold. Never mind. Ugh. No, thank you. I was gonna say, usually I complain during Utah, I'll complain the entire time, but hey, we're 30s. I can't complain. There's no snow, so I'll live with it. That's all good.
So you want to hear some interesting news I heard this week? Actually, since Tom and Tommy are on here, I'm going to let them tell it. But Tommy, you want to hop on or turn your camera on?
Sure.
So you guys know I use Go Local as my website, and they always focus on the larger players. Go ahead, Tommy. Announce your announcement.
Yeah, we're opening our doors to operators between 5 locations to 15. Usually we stock up to around 25 plus, but we've recently had a solution, that's a really great fit for operators between those location sizes.
Nice.
And you got a really, from what we had the conversation, a really nice price point coming out too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I think people that see it will be pleasantly surprised.
And I think the other one was Jim Ross, no setup fee, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. What software do you guys plug in with?
I know we use SiteLink, or Dad, you know that one. I'm not. I'm a little bit newer here, actually.
Oh, I apologize. My voice is not great because I had surgery, but
Well, don't stress about it. You
yeah.
okay? All right. I don't want to make it worse.
I sound worse than I feel. We actually have our own platform. So for this new solution that we're launching, it's going to be a proprietary platform from Go Local.
Well, they integrate with storage. I know that you guys integrate with storage, SiteLink, door swap,
SSM,
and you guys you're doing Yardi too, Tom?
yes.
So all the big players.
That's why we do this. Even though we're in the industry, I can't keep up anymore. Different announcements, different vendors, and all that. So no, that's exciting, guys.
I personally told them they came out with this 6 months too late because when Automated shut their doors, they should have been ready 6 months ago for this.
True.
That's kind of what kickstarted it, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we were trying to, rush and, help people out, but we ended up just making a solution that worked really well in that process.
Nice.
You know what?
One of these times we'll have to have you on and actually do like a little demo of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Seriously, that'd be great.
Yeah. Tell you what, I told somebody yesterday that the more players we have in the thing, it's better for everybody. We all work together, we all integrate together, we all help each other out, and it's like
I like the competition because the more choices you have, the better, kind of better quality, and sometimes it's cheaper. Because seriously, I like it.
But
More
we
than
all, I mean, we all like we're all different, right? We all like different things. We all have different bells and whistles, and I just think that's why I told them they should come on here and kind of say with announce to the world. I told them they need to do a press release. I haven't seen it yet, but hopefully they're working on that. But I think it's going to be good for the industry as a whole to have another viable source that's been around, tried and true. And let's face it, I mean, larger operators. I mean, I'm on their platform. I got 30 stores, but larger operators. Tom, how many large operators do you guys have?
Well, the top 160.
So they're working with the big guys. So this is going to be good. I mean, Jim, you and I always talk about how you're a small operator, you can compete with the big guys. Here's another example, a tool you can use to do it.
No, that's great. And
Yeah,
anything it takes to get a little bit of an edge, we'll take it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
what else is going on in the storage world this week? I believe it's February tomorrow.
I quit looking at it anymore. I swear, the blink and time keeps going by faster and faster. Older we get, that's how it goes.
And I
But
got to say, fly Eagles fly, because we're going to win and beat the Chiefs and the refs next Sunday.
No, you're not. Sorry, buddy.
Well,
It's
we got to play
scripted
the
in our
refs,
favor.
so depends on how much Mahomes paid the refs this time.
That's right.
Taylor Swift too. Jim,
Taylor
Jim,
did.
You mentioned Mahomes' name, so that's a 10-yard penalty right there.
Exactly.
Actually, you know what? It's funny in there.
no, that's a
I
face
saw
mask.
online the other day. You know why he wears
You love
15?
that, Robert.
Because every time you touch him, he gets 15 yards.
Yes.
We're speaking about baseball, right?
Football, dear.
I'm with you.
about
I'll
the
watch the
Cowboys?
Super Bowl. I'm such not a guy. I don't watch any of the sports until the Super Bowl. I'll watch the app and I watch it for the commercials and whoever has the cooler logo. I'll go for them. I'm
You're a true
terrible.
woman.
I'm terrible at that.
I'm
Jim,
the
you're a
same way
woman.
though.
I know. And well, I'll root against the Chiefs just because I have a cousin that I can't stand, and he goes to all the Chiefs games and dresses up like he has
Yeah.
the wig on, the face paint, and all that kind of stuff. And like, I hope they lose this because I can't stand him. So
I
I
just
can
yelled,
tell
go
you, Jim, years
Cowboys.
ago, I worked for a company. We used to have a football pool every week, and it was $1, and you got donuts at the end, right? One year, one of the girls in the office won 7 weeks in a row.
Nice.
And we said, "How are you doing this?" And she said, "I picked the colors I like."
I can
So-
relate to that. I can relate to
I'm
that.
like,
Um,
so.
I
kind
do.
of neglected at the very beginning, but hey guys, welcome. We're 10 minutes into it. I didn't welcome to everybody. So hey, thanks for
Hey.
thanks for joining us here. This is it's titled Q&A with Jim and Jim, but it's more just hey, it's a free flowing. Anyone in storage industry, cool. Come join us. We got managers and vendors and owners and everybody. Just come on. It's free flowing. Got some questions? Cool. You can type it in. We can bring you up or just blurt it out. Whatever you got. There's really no rhyme or reason what we're kind of going through. It's just kind of just catching up. See what's working for you, what's not working for you. Any questions? Just bring it up. So we'll go for another 50 minutes. I try to keep these kind of tight for an hour. I just appreciate you guys taking the time out of your out of your day to actually jump on here. It's nice being able to see some faces. And if you're on here, if you can turn your camera on to see your face, you get bonus points. So
Go on, Ferguson. What kind of hat you got on, bud? So, Jim, have you seen Howard Reynolds been for you this week? Actually, last week, I a little behind from being out for a couple of days, but we're seeing we saw a decent rental activity last week, and on our website, we actually saw 60% of our online rentals take an upgraded rate, and 50% of them take the upgraded protection plan rate. So, we're seeing people that are taking advantage of that they deserve the better unit and the better rate, so they're taking that. So kind of cool.
yes, 60% uptick, taking the upgraded. That's
Yep.
awesome. That's okay.
It's a work in progress. We changed it a couple times. We changed the verbiage a couple times, and really, I think it's helping. It's interesting. But I mean, even like last week, we were, I told you I was in Florida, and we were there, and it's amazing. Whenever I go to restaurants, I always focus on the waiters, or even the waiters around us. some of those waiters are really, really, really good with the upsells and the better, like I always say, what do you recommend? And they always give me one of the better options, but then they want the add-ons. You want the mushrooms and onions on, or you want a topper on your steak, or what side do you want, or you want an appetizer? And that's where I think we really need to get better as an industry, as our managers. We need to be able to be the experts in our field. And when people come in, just don't sell them that cheap $99 10 by 10, because the one you got. If you're using value pricing, get them into the upgraded units and show the value of the property and show the value of that. I did a call yesterday. I'm doing a consulting call in Massachusetts, and the one manager did a phenomenal job about upgrading everything. But again, I actually made a bet with the owner. I said, hey, I'm going to call 6 of your stores. I said, if none of them ask for my name or number, you owe me a beer. He goes, I got a deal. Nobody asked.
Really?
I'm like, and it's funny. I did the
The,
one.
the question was, did he think that they would? So
Oh, he
was-
thought they would. He thought they would. But it was interesting. We did one in California. I had a follow-up call this week, and California's a little slower with, they're not in the wildfire country, but they were excited because they had the one store had 22 rentals in December, and they logged in like 47 inquiries. They had about a 50% close percentage. And when we went back to previous 2 months, they weren't logging anything in. Their rentals were low. And half of the rentals that they got in December were ones they followed up with.
What's your, like I said, this is actually a good topic for follow-ups. What's your normal cadence?
Okay.
I do 3. That's kind of mine. Then I figure we're
Well,
done. What's your cadence?
I always get that question a lot, Jim, and my answer is always it depends on the need date. When they tell you when they need it by, right? But
Yeah.
in my world, when a lead comes in, whether it comes from Sparefoot, the website, the call center, whatever, I want 15 minutes. 30 minutes is my time, drop dead for the manager to respond on to the initial one. The very next morning, they're going to go, well, we call it a thank you call, because I really think, and we've had this discussion before, but I think that what I call the thank you call, the one the very next morning, is equally to, if not more important than the first call. Because when you got up the first call, they're writing notes, they're calling around, calling places. And when I call back the next morning and say, hey, Mary Jo, thanks for calling me yesterday. Thanks for walking in my door. Thanks for inquiring online. I know we talked about the 10 by 10 here. When can you come see me? How my price look? I really want to earn your business. So she might have 5 or 6 people on the page she called.
Yeah.
I'm the only one to call her back. I might be $5 higher, $10 higher, which I should be, because we're better than they are. But I jumped off the page.
And that's my question. Are you calling? Are you texting? Are you emailing? Are you doing all 3?
We're calling and we're emailing, because we do not have texting. We don't use texting for lead follow-up, because with our leases, we had to get permission to text them, right? They got an initial on their lease that they're allowing us to communicate electronically with them.
Yeah.
With the leads, unless you're using a system that's automatically doing that and you can track it, I'm not a big fan of that per se, but we'll do a lot of email follow-up, and we actually created a template. We'll call an email, and like day 2, we're going to grab the first email you back, forward it to, hey, Jim, really want to earn your business. What can we do? Sorry, I missed you. 2 days later, we'll try it again. We'll grab the email we just sent, re-forward it again, and say, hey, what can we do to earn your business? So we've got bullet points that we use. We don't do the whole script again, but we're re-forwarding what we said, and we're, hey, we want to earn your business. What will it take? We want you here. We're showing that we're eager and we want to take care of them. And I think that goes a long way sometimes.
I think it does.
Yeah. You say the last name, Gaetano, the storage marketing machine. Yeah, with the extra space. Yeah, they definitely do the texting follow-up.
Right.
I think it's 3 times, 4 times that I've.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. They put the abandoned cart on there. One of the things we've done with our website, again, thanks to Go Local for the guys that worked with us. If you start the process on our website, start renting the unit and walk away for any reason, it becomes a lead into our cycling software, and it's coded GLI cart abandoned. And then we're going to follow up with you and say, hey, Garrett, saw you're on our website, want to follow up with you. What can we do to help you? And it could have been we require a protection plan, right? They might not have had it with them. They might want to do that. But we are now tracking our closing percentages on all storms, rentals, reservations, quotes, and cart abandoned to know what we're getting. And we're getting people that abandoned and walked away. And it could be that they were in the middle of something, they got distracted at work, they're timed out, you know, whatever the case is. But we're going to pick up the phone and follow you back up and say, hey, Olivia, sorry, we know you're on our website. What can we do to help you? We see you didn't finish the process.
Right.
Goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that segues into a couple other things. And one of the things I'll bring up is in the course of 10 days, how many times does the follow-up exist? Because I will tell you, just from anecdotal experience, I have actually seen higher closure rates in some markets. This is not all markets that are higher between day 6 and 10 than day 1 and 5. And reason why I bring that up specifically is that a lot of times you see managers, yeah, they're good in the first couple of days, and then they just quit after about day 5 and don't follow up.
Right.
But if you continue that all the way through, what I've seen is that those closure rates tend to actually get better as it gets out, as opposed to right at the very beginning in some localities and some markets, because the reasoning is if I call you on Monday, right? You go to the website, you make a reservation, I call you on Monday. I may not need the unit till the weekend. So I may not respond until Friday and say, hey, I thank you for calling me back. I'm interested in the unit. I get you in the door on Saturday, rent the unit, and we go. So I think it's interesting. I'd love to hear what people say about after the first 5 days. How do you do normally with customers? How are customers closing, and what things are you doing?
Well, Garrett, I just shared on screen one of my presentations from last year.
Sure.
This is a sales call 101. And Tom Carroll, you can back me up because you've been doing sales forever. You were doing yellow page sales, dude. But here, 48% of people never follow up. But look at the bottom line: 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th total contact. So that's
Wow.
when I asked the question.
And
I always want to know when they need it by, because I want to know when I'm going to follow up with them. To Gary's point, if they don't need it for 10 days, if I call you tomorrow, they're not worried about it yet tomorrow. They're worried about 3 days later.
And I always push back on that, just because is that sales in general or storage specific, sales
think it's
follow-up.
storage.
This is
We
one of
were
my favorite
closing
slides, Jim.
2% of people on their initial contact, we'd be out of business. It's got to be way higher than that.
Well, again, that was just a sales. That was just a sales. Call there here. But
Yeah.
Jim, this is one of my favorite slides. I always lead with in here. I always ask, and I'll ask the room, what is the first question you want to ask when somebody's calling for storage? Anybody would chime in? Gary, come on.
Our script is, yeah, sure, I can definitely help you with that. Who am I speaking with this morning? Okay, Jim, for sure. Have you used storage before, right? Because that gives you a lot of information.
That's the answer right there. That's the
Sure.
question. The answer.
Then I say, when do you need it by, so that I can make sure whatever I quote you is going to be available.
Right.
They tell me a date, and then I say, okay, for sure. What are you looking to store so that I can make sure I give you the right size? And then that gives me everything I need to know. We can have a conversation after that.
Exactly. But the one, have you ever used storage before? That question is usually not asked, but it helps guide the whole conversation. You're right. If I say, Garrett, have you used storage before? You say, no, I know which way I'm going to go. But if you say, yes, great. You remember what size you had last time? Do you need the same thing? Big conversation difference.
I get it.
I see Guy jumped on. I haven't seen you forever, man.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. How you been?
I know. That's been way too long. When it comes to marketing and follow-ups and all this kind of stuff, this is like the automated king. So I saw him pop in on that comment like, hey,
Mhm.
I remember you. So, and I know you're, of course, with me and AI, and people are probably sick of me talking about AI, but I know you've been working with the voice agents and things like that. So you're kind of setting these systems up for this kind of thing, so you don't have things fall through the cracks. You're trying to solidify all these kind of follow-ups and the sales systems.
Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly. Yeah, that's what we're working on right now is taking the lead from the abandoned cart, dumping it into, right now we're integrated with storage, and then sending it to the voice agent to actually set your follow-up sequence. So you can have the AI follow up just like you've been talking here, and you can customize it as well. And as far as the questions that you answer on the call, I completely agree. I never I always train my managers not to give the pricing. You know, we go right into have you stored before? What are you storing? When do you need it? And then that gives us all the information to make the sale. But for sure, just what the other Jim was talking about, you can have an AI voice agent follow up and then do a manager transfer as soon as the agent makes the sale.
Well, again, just we're all starting from scratch here. Kind of walk us through it a little bit.
Yeah.
For the AI voice.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so there's a couple that we're using right now. I'm using Retail and Vappy. And if you have your API, like GoLocal has their API connection, so you can connect Retail with GoLocal and grab all the information out of your storage management software, as long as they've got an integration. I'm just using GoLocal as an example. I'm not speaking for them. But the way our API works is the voice agent takes the call, extracts all the information from the call in real time, and then inserts it into your storage software and triggers things off of that. So not only do you get the lead into the software, but you actually get all the information to do your follow-up. So if you have some kind of CRM or you've got your CRM set up in your facility management software, it can automatically fire off all your follow-ups, especially with your abandoned cart. You can program all that in the voice. And those are the two ones that I recommend right now, Retail and Vappy. You got a lot of customization, and it's decently user friendly. There is a learning curve, but you get rid of a lot of variability, right? So your AI voice doesn't get tired, doesn't have a bad day. And if you train it and give it time, just like you would a real manager, it's not going to come up and give crazy answers. So it does take practice, but it sounds simple on the top end, but if you practice with it, you can really get it dialed in, especially if you've trained managers before. It's really like training a manager with AI voice.
Have you had any
You kinda-
success using Swivel with their chat bot and their AI bot? And I've seen it evolve in the last couple of years that I know people are using it and they're actually getting rentals right from the Swivel bot on their website that they're saying is hands down better, because this younger generation, they don't want to talk to anybody, and they're really pushing that, and they've come a long way with it. We're actually looking at it, haven't rolled it out yet. I don't know if anybody's on here using Swivel would want to share their success with it, but I think it's a wave of the future thing, and we're all going to kind of be looking at it and following it.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it, Jim. You've seen where certain sections of the country like text, certain sections of the country like voice, right? The way I look at it is if you have a text system set up, the back end infrastructure for a text chatbot on your site, you just kind of bolt on your voice on the front end of that. Like the voice input and the chat input are the same input. It's just one is voice and one is text. The back end is pretty much the same. So I imagine Swivel's going to come out with something like that pretty soon here. But I've heard good things about Swivel. I don't personally use it. We actually build our own. But I've heard good things about Swivel for sure. And I completely agree with text.
Yeah, so you're kind of using your own sites as a guinea pig as you're building these things out?
Yeah, with the portfolio of people that we have is basically I put it out to a beta and then we test it with them at a reduced cost. And then once it's proven, we put it out to the general public, which probably end of first quarter here, we'll have quite a few coming out for AI voice, just because I've got that little pool of people that are willing to let me test it for sure.
Well, if you want another beta tester, let's connect, and I got 30 stores we can play with.
Absolutely. I think based on what I've heard, then this is the second time I've seen you. I appreciate Jim putting this together so that I could hear from you. But based on what I've heard, just your input on how you handle calls, you could create your prompt and create your AI exactly the way you want it, and then once you have it, you could cookie cutter it to each store, and it'll benefit you greatly.
Very cool. Let's connect after this.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me know once you have like a number to actually call and interact with it. 'Cause that's what I want to do. I just want to play with it.
You want to beat it up, yeah.
You're a big kid, Jim.
And that's important, right? I mean, just like training a normal manager in a store, you're going to throw some tests at them, right? When I was training managers, they went through 30 40 days of just warming up. You got to do the same thing with an AI. You just got to beat it up. You take the transcripts and then you see what it answered right, what it answered wrong, adjust your prompt, and just go back and forth until you get it 80 90% of the way. But they've come a long way for sure.
I can tell you every time I call Tom or John or Go Local, say, hey, I've been thinking, they all kind of, oh crap, here we go. What do they want now?
They play the Jim Mooney drinking game, huh?
One thing that we've
Probably.
been playing with
I
is
have an idea. Yeah. Go ahead.
one thing that we've been playing with is and I'd like to get the input from the group is what if you had an AI that had all your data and all your reports in it and you could just ask it questions instead of having to go look at your reports, you could just ask the AI and it gave you the information you were looking for, like what's my current occupancy or what's, how many did I rent yesterday? Kind of like Jarvis. You had your own personal Jarvis that had all your storage unit data, all your facility management data in there. Would that be something anybody would be interested in? I've been
Yes.
batting that idea around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
I actually had a conversation last week with somebody. I shared my weekly report with a couple of people I've worked with, and I'm the type of person I actually sometimes get more out of building the report than reading the report.
For sure.
Yeah, anything like that has that interactivity, just to try to, you have the data, but you're extracting out of it to give you something you can take action on. So,
Exactly.
Especially
Especially pricing
I'm
data.
waiting for you to ask the question. Can you make it sound like certain people? I mean,
Yeah. If you've got the rights to use it, yeah, you can make it sound like anybody. You can make it sound. We built one that sounds just like Jarvis from Iron Man, but I can't sell that one.
It's fun. I mean, again, me playing with stuff, but always kind of throwing data, into, I always use ChatGPT, but just throwing data in and trying to extract, not just here's the numbers, but extract some value out of it, have it analyze it. The big thing is going to be, I mean, obviously there's, the Veritex of the world and things like that for revenue management, but there's going to be other tools that are going to be coming out that can extract that kind of data and scrape other
Yep.
websites and your
You
competitors
can
and be
pull
able
it.
to compile that
Yeah.
together. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's going to be a crazy year. Let's put it that way.
Tell you what, those
Yeah, we're trying
programs
to
have
keep
made
up.
life a lot easier with the store tracks and the Veritex and scraping the data and looking at all
Yeah.
those things. And I mean, I still want my managers doing comp shops because I still want them to know what's going on in other properties, but I'm not relying on them to get the rates. And it's amazing. I still see, like I said, this week this week called 32 stores, Jim. A couple of them asked for my name. Ask me how many asked for my phone number.
5.
But do they not
What?
have it off call display?
Dang.
I don't
No,
ask
I
people to
star
plug that in.
6-7 it purposely.
So would you do that anyway? So like even if you had the call display, wouldn't you ask for it anyways? Because that might not be the number that they were going to call
Right.
back at, or they
Well, I
want to
can
be.
tell you, I train my managers. My managers are not allowed to call back off caller ID because there's been instances. I think we shared this before, Jim, where
Yeah, but it's worth saying again. Go ahead. Yeah.
there was several years ago, there was a young lady who was trying to get out of an abusive relationship and called a storage facility looking for a place to put some of her stuff. And she hung up because he walked in the door and they called back 5 minutes later and he answered the phone and she was in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
So again, that's worst case scenario, but
Yes.
think about it. If Tom Carroll's calling from Go Local from the office, you call back, you don't know what number you're going to get. I mean, you could be calling somebody at school, at work. They're not supposed to be on the phone. You're going to get them in trouble. So we've toyed with actually taking caller ID out of our stores because I really don't want them doing it. And the other part of it I've seen that I saw this week at my own store that I got on them for, a customer's calling in and she rolled her eyes, said, I really don't want to talk to her, and didn't answer the phone. I said, pick it up. Because they're screening the calls, ones they don't want to talk to, that are problem customers. They're going to let the call center take it. That's why I've been back and forth on, do I take caller ID out completely?
What do you do in the case that you miss a call though?
Yeah.
We have a call center that answers all the calls for us behind us.
Touche.
We don't have when I call a facility, a prime example, I called one this week and you could tell they must have been forwarding the phone to their cell phone. And instead of leaving a message, I got mailbox is full, can't leave any messages. I would rather have a call center. I just did a study this morning for one of my stores, and We were looking at length of stays, Jim,
Yeah.
and I was looking at, tell you right now, I was looking at here, length of stay, and these are people who've moved out, right? So 7.4 length of stay on Sparefoot, 6.9 on call center, 6.4 on website reservation, 7.6 on online. If I can find the one that's the right one I'm looking for. Lakeside, right here. And I'll share it so you guys can see it.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is, so this one store, it's a small property, it's got 300 units. Average length of stay is 30.5 months. They average pay, they're paying us $2,000 a month, but here, Sparefoot, 15.2 month length of stay. GLI Rentals, 14.1 length of stay. GLI Reservations, 9.9 length of stay. Call Center, 15.2 average month length of stay.
So he's only pulling, he's not showing you the report.
But I mean, think about that, guys. This property, if they didn't have a call center, you're losing customers 15 average length of stay.
So you mentioned about like forwarding calls to the cell phone. Since we don't have a call center, like we tend to always have them forwarded, and even for like after hours, you know, like if there's an emergency on the property, we always have them forwarded to our phones. Do you think that that's not such a great idea after all?
Olivia, I'm going to tell you that I've seen it where they forwarded the call center. They walk out of the office, show a unit, they hit whatever and forward to their cell phone. Now they're walking the property with a potential customer. The phone rings and now it's ringing on their hip, and they're going to take away from the customer in front of them to answer the phone. I find that a little bit rude.
I concur. That's why I mean, it depends on who is calling, and I wouldn't call it screening per se, and I'm not trying to like get myself in trouble right now, but like, you know, if I see that it's someone who's just like trying to make a payment, I'll call them back once I'm done with my potential customer. But like, if it's a number I don't recognize, then I'll ask if it's okay if I take it real quick, and then I'll just be like, hey, do you mind if I call you back once I'm done with this other tenant?
Made a good point, Ava. I mean, guys, for me, the call center is a necessary evil. I mean, think about, I can tell you, I was looking, let me just find it real quick here. I was looking on, for the month of, January here. I'm sorry for, so far in January, as of the 18th of the month, my call center between their IVR and their took the 31,000, they took $100,000 in payments for me from the 1st to the 18th of the month. $100,000 in payments. Now again, 30 stores, right? But it's, you know, 5,000 here, 3,000 there. For me, the ability for a call center to answer the phone for me, to take a lead, to capture a lead, to take a payment, to give, how many, show of hands, how many people here have customers called after hours? I don't have my gate code to get into your property. Yep. Call center can give it to them. Don't get the phone call.
Does your call center do the follow-up calls for your leads too?
They offer it. I do not. I would rather have my own manager do my leads.
Roger.
But for what it's, I mean, if you're paying say it's $400 a month for a call center, if they got you one rental, just one, to me, it's worth it.
I'll share
and guys,
that.
they're always there. They answer the phone. They might not be great at every phone call. You're going to have it. But for me, I'm going to do it.
I personally don't mind if they call me after hours asking for their gate code, because I feel like that personal touch goes such a long way, especially with like rental increases that happen, you know, and all that. Or like back when we had the snowstorm come through a couple weeks ago, we had a massive break-in all over our property. And like luckily I was at home watching my cameras and I noticed it, and I showed up here almost immediately. But like, you know, me and actually Ben, like we went ahead and we started like calling all the tenants who got broken into to let them like know. But like I feel like that personal touch is really, really important because like if you had a call center, you know, like always doing everything for you, then they're going to be a lot less understanding when their things get broken into because now they want to blame you for leaving the gates open, even though it's law. You know what I mean? I'll shut up now. Sorry.
No, you're 100% right. But think about this: what happens if you're, out for dinner with your husband and a restaurant, and your phone rings and somebody for a gate code, you don't have it, or
I actually keep my site link on my phone so that I could just access it real quick and just pull it up. But I let people know when I move them in. I'm like, if you need me after hours, you're gonna have to call me at least 3 times. I'm like, not to be a butthead. I'm like, but I'm not on the clock.
yeah.
So like that's the only way I'll answer my phones after hours because then
I
it's
can
an
tell you
emergency.
that we have our call center set up. If there's an issue, the call center has a emergency list. We have 5 people on the list who are going to call us. We get a broken door or something like that. We had one this morning. One of our properties had a water leak because the pipe froze, and the call center got customer called the call center, got our emergency team first person on the list, and we dispatched people right away. So there are benefits. The personal touch, absolutely. We follow up with everybody who calls when they're calling in for. We're even if you call in for a gate code, we're going to call back the next morning, make sure you got it. We're going to send you a text with your gate code, make sure you have it on your phone going forward. But for me, the ability to answer that phone real time up until 10, 11 o'clock at night without having to bother the managers goes a long way. And if they can capture leads for you and think about this, I mean, $100,000 in payment that you don't have to take. They can do the IVR, they can do the text message. They can make their payment when they want to. That way, they're not calling you at 9 o'clock at night to make a payment because they want to avoid the late fee.
That's why I let them know you got until this point in time. Otherwise, we'll worry about it the next day. Don't call me.
Same thing. There's pluses and minuses to all of it.
But like I give like really detailed like text messages and emails to let them know like, look, you could call me between these hours to make a payment, or you could go online. This is our website, like, or you can sign up for auto pay and just not have to worry about it at all. Like those are your options. And I keep it like, I have it all laid out. So there's no misunderstanding, no anything like that.
I'm sure we all try to do that too, but sometimes our customers are not the smartest people in the room.
Can I ask
That's
a question?
Go ahead, Garrett.
Hop on in.
Olivia, I just want to ask you a question. When you're presenting it, have you actually calculated up how much the late fees would be if somebody did not pay within that month? And then when you've done that, have you calculated how much that is in a year? And so when you're pitching it, are you actually pitching it by saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I can save you up to $400 a year by putting it on auto pay. You'll never have to worry about late fees.
Okay, it's technically more like $1,250 a year if they miss their payments. Like every other month, like they're going into the lien process and then the auction process. I absolutely tell them, I'm like, if you want to save, $1,250 a year, I'm like, we can actually avoid that by you paying on time.
And
what
like, I'm pretty straightforward about it. But like I say with a smile, they're never mean to me. Like my tenants love me though. Like, I don't know. Like they understand that I'm literally telling them this to save them money. I'm not doing it to be mean. And actually the majority of them have gotten really good. Like they'll actually sign up for auto pay, or they will constantly keep in communication with me from there out. Cause I told them, I'm like, look, if it's before we file a lien, I'm willing to work with you and take partial payments to keep you from going into that.
Don't do that. Don't do partial payments.
Don't do that.
Don't do partial payments.
I mean, I've only had like a couple people do it, but like if it keeps them out of the lien process, isn't that better? Because a lot of them are deployed, or I'm sorry, not deployed, because the deployed people we can't touch. But I'm saying like a lot of them are military who don't even live in the state anymore, and they end up leaving their stuff behind. And so like they can't come in, I mean, like I tell them they can send their money orders and stuff in if they need to, but like it just avoids a huge headache for my active duty members and or just military in general, whether they're active duty or retired.
Yeah.
Because I would say about 60% of my tenants are military.
We actually just reached out to one the other day. We reached out to a commanding officer because we were having a hard time getting a hold of somebody. And the customer finally came back and apologized profusely that happened, because I have friends who are in the military, and they told me if you ever reach out to the commanding officer, that soldier is in for a world of hurt and world of pain because of that.
Yes. And my husband is, I mean, I wouldn't say he's a commanding officer, but he's high enough up that like, and a lot of his soldiers end up coming here. And so they don't mess around with me.
For you.
Guy, I wanted to, I don't know if you're on a call real quick. I saw you say something about the AI voice rollover service. Can you educate a little bit of us on that?
Yeah, so basically it's taken over for when you miss your calls. And that's, I was interested in what Jim was saying, and what the young lady was saying is if you miss a call, instead of going to voicemail or instead of going to your cell, you can create an AI to take that information from that customer and then text you, right? So if you're in a situation, if you're a one-man operator, woman operator, you can build that AI voice to capture that information from that call and text it to you. And if you're like, I used to run my facility before we had managers by myself. I used ESS, I used SiteLink, and I always like, people love the texting. I'm next to a military base, so the soldiers love the texting too. We used to rent units over text, but if for some reason I'm with a customer, like Jim was saying, and I get a call, that call goes to an AI. They have a conversation with the AI, extract the information, text it to you, and then you continue that conversation over text. Like if somebody's missing a gate code, you could get that information over the text, verify that they're actually who they are, and then text them the gate code, especially if you got everything over your phone. But you do have that capability with AI voice.
I think like we're gonna have to do a demo. It's one thing talking about it. I want to see this kind of stuff. So we'll have to do a demo.
I'll prep it up. I got some on my YouTube channel, but I'll be releasing some demos for that, and I'm happy to demo it here. But it's something that's, if you're a little savvy, it'll do it.
I've watched YouTube videos. 2 cents. There's a lot of technical stuff, which is people are going to be like, don't care. I just want to see it in action. So that's all I care about. I just want to see it, play with it.
I'm gonna start a new playlist. It'll be the Jim&Jim playlist, and it'll be just straight up.
Just dumb it down for me. Just dumb it down. We're good. We're good.
No problem. No problem.
We're talking about. We always come back to this about the value of a call and things like that. Speaking of AI stuff, you'll like this. I made this in about 30 minutes on Lovable. Lovable, you can make apps. It does all sorts of stuff. So basically, it's just kind of talking about marketing channels and things like that, and what you should be doing to make the phone ring. And once you do get the phone to ring, the sales behind it to actually get the rental. But what I want to focus on is just real quick, just real simple. This is what I like to show owners as well. Kind of just solidifies what you're just talking about. About the one missed call, one missed rental. I don't know.
Put 3 in, Jim. That's what I usually. What would 3 more rentals do for a month for you?
Hey, 3 more rentals a month. Average, just do $100. Make it easy. Average that. Length of stay, we'll say 12 months. Cap rate, we're sitting around 6% right now. So yeah, over the length of stay, that's $3,600 you're missing, and put a value on that, 60 grand for just an extra 3 calls. So it's something like this. I like these little calculators to make it. I know it's overgeneralizing, but it does help solidify in real numbers what you're missing out on if you don't have these systems in place when it comes to
Jim. I need to borrow this exact one for my presentation in Orlando that we can put it into our slide, because we talk about that all the time, and I use the exact thing. What would 3 more rentals a month do for you? And showing that right there is just, when you punch it in, how it pops up, is incredibly valuable. We talked about it yesterday. We don't even do phone rentals anymore, dude. I will not do a rental over the telephone. Will not. because I would rather send you the link from the software to do it yourself.
Oh,
Because if I do it over the phone, now I'm on the phone with you and it's going to take 3, 5, 10 minutes to get all the information, right? Then I got to get the payment. Then I got to send you everything to sign. And now I'm chasing you down for signatures. When I send you the rental completion link, you do everything, you pay for it, it's done, everything's signed, it comes back to me. So I can send you, hey, Jim, I'm going to send you the link right now. Take care of it. And I showed Tom Carroll yesterday. Last year we did 3,400 rentals. 2,000 of them were the rental completion length.
So you haven't seen any pushback from somebody calling in and then you sending them online?
We're not sending them online. We're sending them. They're already in our software. We're just sending them a link to complete the rental on the back door.
So you're texting them a completion. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is a lot better. Plus, with that, we're keeping the original, the source code for me that I can tell whether it was a spare foot rental, a call center rental, a website rental, all those things. Keeping that, and it's a lot better. It's a lot cleaner for us, and get all the signatures.
Awesome.
who's that? I mute you. Background.
I mean, for me, and the other thing is, think about how, how does it take to do a phone rental over, a phone rental? It could be 3, 5. Now somebody else calls, you're missing a call. Somebody else walked in the door. Now you're waiting. You're by yourself. Where I can send you the link. Hey, Garrett, I'm going to send you this link right now. Boom, take care of it. Or I use it a lot when people say, hey, I can't get in. We have a lot of remote stores, but even my man stores, I'm not done work till 7 o'clock. Tell you what, I'll send you the link right now. You can complete the rental. You can move in tonight.
That's great. I had a question for you, Jim. So since you were talking about doing all the 30-something secret shoppers you were doing, obviously they weren't asking your phone number to do a follow-up. Hey guys, first let's don't do all the bad stuff. Did anyone stand out? You're like, holy crap, these guys are.
Yeah, there were a couple that were really, really, really good. They asked a lot of the right questions. What are they looking for? They offered me, they were very thorough with their presentation. I did have one though that the guy told me that, yeah, we're pretty full right now and our prices are high, but if you go down the street, there's a lot better deals.
Oh shit. Okay.
So, no, I mean, all in all, they did well. And same thing, I'm going to give you every opportunity to ask me the right questions. And I usually use the same spiel. We're coming up to move my mother-in-law out of her house, roughly 10 by 10. Are you sure? Well, depending on how much crap she's got in the house, could be bigger, could be smaller. They start giving me options upstairs, downstairs. So a lot of them did very, very well. It's not, as we talk about Jim all the time, you're not recreating the wheel. You just got to fine tune what they're doing. Ask the right questions. And I hate when I say, hey, I'm looking for around a 10 by 10. Oh yeah, they're $99 without asking me a single question. When they give me a price right off the bat, no. But most of the ones I talked to, probably half of them did a decent job asking questions to make sure. I had a few that just said, yeah, one person said, we're 100% Phil. I had nothing. You got to call back later.
Wow.
Did any of them recognize your voice?
My voice? No.
Dang.
I know I'm just
popular, but not that popular. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm not that popular. Thank God.
Don't you know who I am? You can't play that card.
They should know.
I'll just match my voice like Tom Carroll's doing right now. Just I'm sick or whatever. But I'm going to give you every opportunity to get the information. And when we go back and the same thing I told the owner yesterday, I said, look, don't use this as a hammer. Use this as a tool. It's a learning tool. And I can tell you when I was my last company, if we did the mystery shops and you got a 95 or better, we'd walk in and hand you $50.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Nice. Bring it on. Oh.
I love though when people say, I just got mystery shopped and they don't do 100. That blows my mind. I've had managers tell me that, I just got mystery shopped. The score was an 80. Well, if you knew it was a shop, why didn't you knock it out of the park?
Exactly.
When you mystery shop, I'm just curious because I've done this plenty of times too. Isn't it hard not to lead them? Mm-hmm. To lead the conversation? You have to like restrain yourself and shut up and let them lead the conversation. But man,
I've done some now where I actually have another number and email address. I'll go onto the website and create a web lead just to see what kind of response I get.
Yeah.
I had one 2 weeks ago. I said I did 2 weeks ago. I did 4 of them. One got me within an hour. 2 got me a day and a half later, and 1 never got back to me.
Not surprising. Not surprising.
It's really not. And for me, Jim, we talk about it all the time. This is why we do this. We want to educate the storage world, because if we all get better, we can get rid of. We all got that customer that's down the street from us that doesn't have an admin fee, doesn't have a gate, doesn't have cameras, and they're bringing the price of the market down. If we can keep right now, Extra Space is doing that enough for us, bringing the rates down. Yeah, you're Utah-based company, Mr. Ross.
Don't blame me. I'm not guilty by association.
You're in Utah.
I know.
And you're close.
I was at a conference yesterday. I had nothing to do with storage. Nothing to do. Sitting with next to a guy, and he's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm like, self-storage. And I was trying to move on. He's like, "Oh, like Extra Space?" And like he knew the CEO and all this stuff. I'm like, can't escape it. So yeah, I get it. So we got about 8 minutes left, guys. So I don't want to give an opportunity. If anyone else has any particular questions they want to make sure to hit before we see you in 2 weeks. Speak now or wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, I gotta actually, something you guys have touched on a bunch is talking about average length of stay, and therefore a customer is worth X amount of dollars. I used to think like that, and I really think that in the last 18 months, it's proven to be very deceptive about what's going on in the facilities. I wish I could share a better screen, but we'll see if this can come up. So this is called a box and whisker chart. And what you see here, the lower quartile, it's divided everyone into quartiles, and it's gotten rid of the outliers. And so imagine that we all had $100 in our bank account, except Jim has $50 million. Well, guess what? Our average is $1 million a piece. It's not accurate. And the average length of stay is not really an accurate assessment of what your churn rate might need to be, what the velocity of customers that you're actually attracting these days is. And so I exported all the move out data. I fiddled around in Excel and got it into number of days stayed, and then put it in a box and whisker chart. And you can see that that blue one at the end, that's 2024. And so I know it's going to be really hard to see here, but the third quartile, so the people that are very valuable customers, the third longest stays, they're shrinking. So let's say they stayed 11 months before, now they're staying 10 months. And our occupancy is staying the same, but because we're giving more promotions to people to move in, and now they're only staying 10 months instead of 11 months, the value, the real dollars that we get out of each customer is shrinking. And so I don't know, just because the average customer length of stay has been mentioned a few times here, I just thought I would throw that in, that if you
and that's why I always speak in generalities. It's more about hammering the home of those real dollars on the other side of that phone.
So try to take out the top 10, and I take out the top 10% and the bottom 10%. I take out the ones that are short term and the long term ones. I take those out of my equation to get a realistic one. And that's why a lot of times I not only put the length of stay by month, but I put the money that they paid us.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where you can see it. And I also do it. When I do this with the reports, I look at the current ones and I look at the past ones to see if anomalies. When you have an area that has college kids or military bases, that can skew your data really, really quick. But I always want people to think about, when you ask a customer how long are they staying, they say a month or 2. We all know that's a lie. They're staying long term. And we saw length of stay go up during COVID. Now we're seeing it come back down because of rates. The thing you also want to remember, especially now, is when you have those long-term customers that are paying above standard rate and you start pushing them more to try and get more rate increase because you dropped your rates, and then they move out, you're not only losing a long-term customer, you're losing somebody who's paying $200 for a 10 by 10. The new person's going to pay $145, so you're losing on both sides of the coin. So you want to make sure you're looking at all that data importantly, and especially rate increases right now. I got people that are pushing to be 100% full in the wintertime. I said, no. I rather have some vacancy now and, give some rate, but start pushing rates sooner, because I don't want to be 100% come March and April when people start moving, and hopefully as the economy is going to turn with, hopefully we're not political, but that starts turning, we're going to see rates go back up. So I want to make sure I have room to rent to people with the higher rates when they come around in March and April.
I would like the new tools Say that again. It was Box and Whisker. Is that the actual tool name?
No, that's the name
That's
of
the chart.
Just put
That's
it
the
in
chart.
Excel,
Okay.
let's try.
What's the tool?
Excel.
Oh, you just did Excel. Okay.
Yeah, it's a chart.
Yeah.
And then I'll just throw one more thing too, Olivia, what you're doing there with your setup and how you're interacting with all your customers, it works really, really, really well. And you have the best facility around for the customers, but it all hinges on you. And so I can't guarantee
Off the
that the
scale.
manager I have in there
Yeah.
is gonna be you. And so there's like, it works for you because you
Right.
know the facility, you know the customers, you know who, you know what to tell them, how to do their lock and like all the pain points that are around. But as soon as it's not you anymore, you can't replace you. So we try
So
and build
I
a
trained Ben to be just like me, and he really is. Because there's only 2 of us that work this facility. I mean, once in a blue moon, like our other manager does, because she's technically in charge here, but like everyone just knows me.
Jim can't have 30 use. That's just not realistic.
That's right.
Right. So he's got to have different approaches to dealing with things.
Exactly.
That's fair. Yeah, because I'm just one place.
Would we really want 30 Olivias though? I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
We'll just have Guy make an AI version of Olivia.
Yeah, I'll
got
take 30 Olivias.
Now we got the army of
I
Olivia's
can't
out.
take 30 Mary Joes. Once is enough.
Hey.
Just need to license the voice. We're good to go.
See?
Yeah.
I'll be the go-between. I'll work out the licensing deal. All right.
Jim Ross is the voice we need.
Something like that. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. This has been, again, we never know where we're gonna go in these conversations. We just
No,
go
we
with the flow.
don't.
So hopefully you're getting some value out of this.
Jim, there's a question on there.
But I
You
missed.
are recording, so where will it be seen later?
Oh, sure. It's always on the YouTube channel, the self-storage show. I have a whole playlist that's just for these. Let me put it in the chat here real quick so you don't have to search for it. Dun, 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 dun.
Tommy, why don't you drop your email in the chat in case anybody wants to reach out to you for your new release? Olivia, while he's doing that question, have you seen your occupancy
Hey,
grow? So I know earlier you were talking about having not a lot of inquiries. Have you got that fixed where you're getting more inquiries now?
No, but yes, it's so I've noticed that from the time I started working here, I'm lucky if I get maybe 3 calls a day, like
Oh.
people inquiring for units. Most of mine are actually word of mouth for military that walk in, if not online. But that being said, I have finally gotten above my 90% for occupancy, and so I'm doing better. Overall, we're doing better.
Really, Tommy, go Chiefs?
Yeah.
Had to get one last dig in there.
There's
Yeah,
gonna be a lot of celebration.
Taylor paid him.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, guys. I put it in the chat just so you want to put a playlist.
Thanks,
So,
guys. Good seeing everybody.
Good
See you in 2
on
weeks.
there. Again,
Y'all
appreciate
take
everyone
care.
taking the time out of your day, jumping on. This is awesome, guys. Thank you.
Y'all come back
Thank you.
now. Good job, Olivia.
Take care.